Hello, welcome to The Conversation on News Central Television. This program will bring you up to speed with all the political developments on the African continent. We also bring you in-depth analysis on some of these topics. I'm Gbenga Aborowa.
I am Rita Omodia. Definitely trending stories on the political scenes around the African continent. And on the program today, we will tell you how the quest of some Kenyans for a better life abroad has unfortunately gone wrong. Over the past 3 months, about 85 Kenyans, mostly domestic workers, have died in Saudi Arabia, and the government of Kenya is seeking to unravel the cause of these deaths.
Away from the east to the west of Africa, pressure mounts on the Gambia's government to take concrete steps to prosecute former President Yahya Jammeh. The country's Justice Ministry stresses willingness to ensure that ex-leader and dictator faces justice, with latest talks with Ecowas leaders to establish a hybrid court for the former president's trial. Interesting developments in Africa, but you know, it's not the first time. You have a situation in Burkina Faso, same in West Africa. Blaise Compaoré was tried, he was convicted, and you had the military roll out red carpets for him. So what's the guarantee that Jammeh will face justice for his crimes in the Gambia?
And those are the questions a lot of people are having in Gambia, and a lot of people who were victims of these perpetrations from Yahya Jammeh, who ruled for about 22 years, they say the same thing. They want justice. Will justice ever be given? The Ecowas right now has talked about a hybrid court. What are we to expect from it? Are we sure that he will even be extradited? Because last we know he's in Equatorial Guinea.
Equatorial Guinea on exile, and I guess we'll ask our guests when we get to that part. But I can understand why you or people are not really excited about this. It's still on paper, and until we see that justice is served, that's when you can conclude that. Yes.
Definitely, and it's quite unfortunate in Kenya what is going on. I mean, these are Africans.
And it's such a huge number of people that have died in the last few months and over the years. So it's nice that something is finally happening to this. You know, the government of Uganda a few years ago didn't even bother saying, you know, let's talk. They just gave a blanket ban that Kenyans are not meant to travel to Saudi Arabia for work. So I guess the lives of its citizens is more important than any money they're making there.
Well, I must say that this is a tough one for William Ruto. I mean, he was just re-elected. I don't think he spent about 100 days, or if he has.
Less than 100
Less than 100 days. So he has lots of things, economy, and right now this ill treatment of Kenya. A lot of things for William Ruto. But right now, let's begin in the Gambia, where Justice Minister Dawda Jallow has revealed that the country is seeking the partnership of the regional bloc, Ecowas, to set up a hybrid tribunal for the trial of its former president and military leader, Yahya Jammeh, for alleged human rights abuses during his 22-year rule. Now, earlier this year, a government white paper recommended that Jammeh and 69 others be prosecuted for alleged crimes committed during his rule from July 1994 to January 2017.
Now, Dawda Jallow explains that if the regional bloc agrees with its proposition, a treaty will be signed and the hybrid court will receive the indictments from the prosecutor's office that will be set up very soon. Jammeh, who's currently living in exile in Equatorial Guinea, has however denied wrongdoing. He fled the Gambia in 2017 after losing elections to current President Adama Barrow. Now, joining us on the conversation this evening to discuss these and more, we have Alpha M.K. Lowe, Administrator of the University of the Gambia. We also have Fabakary Jammeh, a legal consultant who joins us from the Gambian capital, Banjul. A warm welcome to you, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on the conversation. Okay, I'd like to start with Fabakary Jammeh, who is not related to the former president, Yahya Jammeh. Fabakary, what exactly will the hybrid court constitute? And how has this news and initiative been welcomed in the Gambia? Hello, Fabakary, can you hear us? Okay, I guess I'll direct that question to Alpha Lowe. Hello, Alpha, are you there? Okay, I guess we're trying to establish.
All right. I think we also have...
Hello?
Okay, we have joined us Salutal. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, Salute Tal, President Gambia Bar Association, thank you so much for joining us on the conversation.
It's a pleasure.
All right, so straight with it, Gbenga asked the first question, and I will continue with that. And that's, what exactly does this hybrid court constitute? And how has it been welcomed, so to say, in Gambia?
Thank you very much. I think the hybrid court basically it's a mechanism that would allow the Gambia to try those recommended for prosecution in respect of international crimes, i.e. torture, enforced disappearances, and crimes against humanity. And that includes Jammeh and others. So this is, as you rightly said, the TRT recommended from 69 people to be prosecuted. Amongst the 69 people, some of them, mainly Jammeh and some of those in leadership positions and others, I mean, they were alleged to have committed crimes against humanity and things like international crime torture. I mean, now the hybrid court is a mechanism that allows the Gambia to try them with the support and backing of Ecowas, because for the simple reason that under Gambian law, these are not crimes that we have in our statute books. So, for example, under local laws, you cannot try someone for torture, you cannot try someone for enforced disappearances. So the hybrid court mechanism will allow a country to basically try someone for international crimes. So this is basically the mechanism that really allows us to use international law to try crimes that have been committed locally in the Gambia. I believe that this is a welcome development in the Gambia, and particularly for us as a bar association, because we have been holding stakeholder consultations and leading conversations as far back as 2019 to pushing and advocating for the prosecution of those who bear the greatest responsibilities between 1994 and 2017 January, particularly Jammeh and his henchmen. So really, it is a welcome development and really a milestone.
The former President Jammeh has been living in exile in Equatorial Guinea under the protection of long-term President Theodore Obiang. With an Ecowas back court, are there assurances that he will be extradited? And does the Gambia currently have an extradition treaty with Equatorial Guinea?
Well, there's nothing like assurances, but surely Gambia has a much better shot to extradite Jammeh with an Ecowas back court than only a Gambian court, because as you know, well, as you will find out, and Ecowas, just like you had in the case of President Aborowa, where it was an AU back court. So you're talking about Ecowas as a body asking for the extradition of Jammeh. I think that would have more impact than only Gambia. And importantly, some of the crimes alleged to have been committed by Jammeh and some of his henchmen, we're against Ecowas National, the famous migrant case where more than up to close to 50 people or more from 6 different nationalities were killed. Based on the instructions of Jammeh and some of his henchmen. So, I think there's a strong basis to use Ecowas, an Ecowas back court, and I think there's a much stronger of a chance of extraditing Jammeh based on an Ecowas back court. If a warrant comes from a process that's Ecowas back, I think there will it will have more impact. But obviously, there's nothing like, I cannot tell you there's 100% assurance that it will, but definitely it will have a much better shot at achieving this.
Okay, thank you so much, Salute Tal. Now, no assurances, but definitely it makes the court stronger. Now, I'd like to bring in Fabakary Jammeh. Now, he is a legal consultant. Now, tell us legal implications. We're hearing of a hybrid court, and this has been backed by Ecowas. Now, how exactly will this proceed? It's still being documented, but what are the legal proceedings for this hybrid court? Fabakary, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes. What was the question? Sorry.
Okay, I said we're looking at the hybrid court. So tell us legal proceedings for this particular hybrid court. Can you hear me, Fabakary? Okay, while we still try to get the audio of Fabakary, Alpha, if you can hear me, we talked earlier to Salute Tal, and he said that there are no assurances, but this hybrid court to make it a bit stronger for Jammeh to be extradited. Do you believe so?
Hello, Alpha, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can. Please go on.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. My brother is very right when he said using the hybrid court will make things stronger for so many reasons. Looking at the nature of the crimes that are alleged to have been committed by Jammeh during his presidency from 1994 to 2017 January, you understand that they are cross-cutting. The issues are really cross-cutting, and not all of the crimes are feasible to be tried within the Gambia for reasons bordered around security reasons, reasons bordered around the fact that probably there are no legal standings or legal protocols that are in place for now to take care of those issues for now. So it will only make sense that we collaborate or cooperate with Ecowas, which has a wider jurisdiction in terms of addressing some of those issues in order to make things stronger but also easier. Because if you only want to rely on the Gambia's judicial system to try Jammeh, when certain legal proceedings and protocols are not in place, only to begin to come up with those protocols and clauses and conditions for now, it may bring the issue, legal implications of having to face the issue of retroactively applying certain clauses, which may cause some legal issues. I'm not a lawyer per se. Probably Salim Tal would be able to explain that issue a bit better. But apart from the legal complications too, you understand that there were non-Gambians that were alleged to have been killed or tortured or whose rights were abused by Jammeh and his people at the time. Most of them are within the sub-region, within the Ecowas sub-region. Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana, you name them. So it really makes sense that we look at things at a bigger picture, that is at the level of the ECOWAS, to ensure that all these things are put in place and all those countries are captured within the ECOWAS protocol. So it will make things a bit easier. And the other point I mentioned earlier is security threats. Remember, Jammeh has ruled this country for more than 20 years. And he still has a lot of support among the citizens.
And Alpha, are you there? Okay, I would like to bring in Fabakary Jammeh from Banjul, the capital of the Gambia. Hello, Fabakary, can you hear me? Hello, Fabakary. Yes, now, Fabakary, Mr. Alpha just talked about, security threats, and Jammeh is still wielding quite a lot of influence, even though he's been in exile for a number of years. Now, there's been reports of concerns that Jammeh's prosecution may endanger security and stability. Should this be a cause of concern for the Gambians?
Sorry, can you say that again? I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Okay, there have been talks, and Alpha did mention that, Yahya Jammeh still wields quite a lot of influence in the Gambia. So, and there's been reports of concerns that Jammeh's prosecution may endanger security and stability, similar to what we saw in the Republic of South Africa in the aftermath of former President Jacob Zuma's arrest. Should this be a cause of concern?
I mean, thank you very much for having me. Your question was not, I don't hear the rest of the question, but I think you mentioned whether Jammeh's prosecution in the Gambia is a concern to the people of the Gambia.
Yes.
Right. Well, basically, I think the Gambia at this point is not in the position to prosecute Yahya Jammeh because of.
Fabakary, are you with us? Okay, while we still try to get Fabakary's audio, I'd like to bring in Salud Tal into this now. And we're still dealing with the issue of security and stability, which there's been a cause of concern that prosecution of Jammeh might as well lead to insecurity due to how much power that Jammeh still wields in the Gambia. So should this be a cause of concern?
Can I take that on?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, actually, this is in fact, this is one of the attractions of the hybrid mechanism, because the hybrid mechanism allows, for instance, for someone like Jammeh to be tried outside Gambia. in the design of this hybrid mechanism, it has been factored. There might be a possibility that some of the people, some of the perpetrators, particularly maybe Jammeh, it may not be wise. There may be security concerns to hold the trial of Jammeh in the Gambia, and it will be factored in the mechanism. So, if, for example, just like in the case of Charles Taylor, he was charged at The Hague, even though it was Sierra Leone, UN back for the Sierra Leone. Likewise, the hybrid court mechanism envisaged in the Gambia would have a provision whereby, for security reasons, Jammeh can be tried outside the Gambia. And I think there's a wide consensus that it is perhaps not a great idea to prosecute Jammeh in the Gambia, because I would not say he has a lot of support, but I would say he still has some support in the Gambia.
Now, let me bring in Alpha Lowe. Now, Alpha, what are the whereabouts of Jammeh's alleged killer squad, also known as the Junglers? Some of them been arrested and prosecuted, and what was the degree of crimes they committed? Hello, Alpha, are you there?
Yeah, based on the reports coming out from the TRRC, we understand that out of the 339 people that testified before the TRRC, a lot of allegations were made, not only on Jammeh, but on those that you call the junglers. But if you ask me, the TRRC report and the white paper from the government are more or less speaking the same language. That is to say, government is confirming the fact that not only Jammeh is to be tried, but even those that were accomplices, those that we call their junglers, those that were carrying out some of those human rights abuses in Jammeh's name, also equally are to be tried. Most of them are not in the Gambia. The few of them that are within are under custody. Some of them are across the world, being tried in various parts of the world, in Germany, in the United States of America, and some other areas, while others are still in exile, like Jammeh. But in my opinion, I think like Jammeh, all those junglers, it will be better for the security of this country to be tried outside the country, because the country is politically polarized, and there are a lot of security lapses that if those people are to be tried within the country, that may really hamper the security of this country.
Okay, now Fabakary, I don't know if you're still with us. Now, if we're looking at Jammeh's fleeing Gambia in 2017 after losing to President Adama Barrow, a lot of people had expectations that there will be prosecutions, there will be justice brought. But we also had news of the fact that some of Jammeh's loyalists are in Barrow's administration. So what is the level of confidence that the Gambia have in Adama Barrow at the moment? Fabakary, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What was the question? Sorry.
Okay, I was talking about the level of confidence that people have in Adama Barrow to bring about justice to those that were killed.
Sorry, I'm having difficulties in hearing what you are saying.
Okay, all right, Fabakary, I'll get back to you, but I would like to hear from Salutal on this. Now, we're looking at the aftermath of Jammeh in 2017, the coming in of Barrow in 2017, and the expectations of the people, and the fact that there are talks that in his administration, there are still loyalists of the former President Yahya Jammeh. So do the people still have high expectations that Barrow is still on track to bring about justice?
I mean, it is fair to say that some supporters, I'm not sure whether I would say loyalists, some supporters, particularly political supporters of the former regime, are in very high positions in the current arms of government. And that has raised a lot of concern, and rightly so, for many Gambians. So this goes down to political will. And but for us, political will is something that is very fluid and dynamic. And the government put together a TRRC in place and has the white paper. I mean, the government white paper really, pretty much adopted the recommendations of the Truth Commission. Substantially. And we have seen the Minister of Justice
who really is a critical part of the present cabinet, taking very serious steps, showing commitment to ensure accountability, and going to the extent of saying that Jammeh, there's a commitment to try Jammeh in due course. So for me as a bar president, I mean, until I see the government waver from this commitment, I will take it that there's a political will. But this is not something we take for granted. We are concerned about putting structures in place, and that would really transcend any notion of political interference. That's why the hybrid court mechanism is a mechanism that would put in place an independent process, a process that is outside the local court system, and also local control of politicians. So I think once we are successful as a country to establish a hybrid court process, and also the Minister of Justice has also said that they will establish a special prosecutor's office which will be independent and autonomous. It means that prosecution decision or discretion will not be under the control of a political appointed person. You also have a hybrid court that will not be under the control of a political appointed person. I think that would, to a large extent, avoid any political influence in the process and ensure that we have justice.
Thank you very much.
But that is not to say that there are concerns. I mean, there's a lot of people, there's concern. For example, there are concerns that the current speaker and deputy speaker are from Jammeh's party. And I mean, but we'll see how it goes, because at the end of the day, there would be need to have some local legislations, for example, enabling legislation to put in place the hybrid court to ratify a treaty and so on and so forth. So the National Assembly will play a very important role. But we trust that with the government's commitment, I mean, it should be expected to be smooth sailing once the government is committed to ensure that it happens.
Thank you very much, Lou. I would like to bring in Fabakary. Fabakary, can you hear me? I think we have issues with Fabakary's connection. Yeah. I'll just direct this question to Alpha Lowe. Now, today, the 2nd of November, marks International Day to End Impunity for Crimes Against Journalists. One name comes to my mind. It's Solo Sandeng. He was a human rights activist. He was a journalist that was killed by the instructions of the junglers. What has been done in the Gambia today by President Adama Barrow to ensure that journalists' rights are not violated and are protected?
Yeah, thank you very much. Probably you meant to say Dawda Haidara instead of Solo Sandeng, because Solo was a politician and Dawda was the journalist that was actually killed, allegedly killed by the junglers. As we can see, I'm not sure much has been done in the Gambia today to commemorate or show government stand towards ending or having the political will to end any form of violation of the rights of particularly the journalists. That's just for today. But looking at things generally, I think the Barrow government has actually done a lot of improvement in terms of democracy, freedom of expression, and particularly within the media fraternity. That you can give it to him. But for the particular day that we are talking about today, commemoration or showing commitment or reigniting their commitment towards that, nothing much has been done. But at a general scale, yeah, they can be commended for opening up the space for the media.
All right, thank you so much, Alpha Lowe, and of course Fabakary Jammeh for joining us on the show. Also, a very big thank you to Salute Hall, President, a member of the Gambia Bar Association. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation at this time. We do hope and wait to see what this hybrid court will bring to the Gambia. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back with new situations in Kenya, do stay with us.